Good day, and welcome to Campaign Series Vietnam 1948 to 1967. We're going to play the first boot camp scenario. We're accessing that by pressing play on the menu. And we will skip over the intro video once it loads. And then we're going to press the play scenario button. We will start a new game, and we will select Bootcamp One, which is defaulted at the top. So let's see how it goes. Welcome to Bootcamp One. This scenario will have you leading Company A of the 4th, 503rd, 173rd Airborne towards an airfield located at Dacto 2. In this scenario, you'll learn about the user interface, in-game messaging, movement, double timing, variable objectives, firing, assaulting, and assigning opportunity fire. You will also learn what to do when encountering civilians and some Viet Cong activity. We will be playing with all the options on, and as side A, let's go play the scenario. First thing you're going to do is choose the side that you're going to play. We're supposed to be playing side A, so we will be playing manually. Side B, we'll be playing with computer fog of war. And this means that I won't be able to see anything that the computer does or the AI does unless it's within my line of sight, and even then that's not guaranteed. The optional rules are found here, and there are a number of optional rules available. Some new ones for those that are familiar with the series. Enhanced Fog of War really makes Fog of War exactly that. You're not going to know a lot of information at all. You won't know much about platoon strengths. You won't know about their status. You won't know a lot. Same with Enhanced Spotting. This is something new. This makes it far more difficult to spot something, even if it is in the hex next to you. Especially with the nature of the terrain of Vietnam. There could be a Vietnamese platoon right in the hex next to you, but because it's in a jungle terrain, you're not going to see it. Enhanced Reporting, this provides you some more information, or less information, depending on your Fog of War settings. Enhanced Assault, this takes assaulting to a completely new level, where it factors in flanking, surrounding, etc., and adding benefits to those while you do that. Enhanced Close to Air Support. This is the new air model. You won't see that for this particular bootcamp scenario, but you will see it in Bootcamp 2. I'll go through that in detail. The Adaptive AI. This is the 150 different attributes for the various AI components per nation. And these vary typically by decade. These are fully moddable. You can modify those and change them as you wish. Indirect fire by the map. Without this checked on, that means I can only fire at hexes that I can see. Armor facing effects. It's a default on. That means that the armor typically in the front is stronger than the armor in the back. Command control. This helps us with how our units will conserve ammo and regain ammo. Variable visibility. This will adjust the visibility on a turn-by-turn basis by one hex range. And historical landing zones. These are required for the scenarios that are included in the game. With that, you can land where you're allowed, basically, and that'll be somewhere in the field. It'll be a landing zone marked. I'll show you that as we continue on. And we're going to press OK and start. This is something new for the campaign series. This is the briefing, the scenario briefing, and it'll be very important that you read these for every single scenario that you want to play. Let's read this one. Welcome to Bootcamp One for the campaign series Vietnam. The situation. Welcome to Dacto, newbie. So you want to be a gung-ho military commander. Well, first, this scenario will teach you how to move your units, capture objectives, and attack opposing forces. The first new item you will note is that each scenario now begins with a SMEAC, which is the operational briefing. SMEAC stands for Situation, Mission, Execution, Administration, and Control. It will be imperative that you read through the SMEAC, as it'll help guide you on how to win any given scenario. Reading through the descriptions will give you the information necessary to be successful. Friendly forces, you have A Company, 1st Battalion, 503rd Airborne, and that is tasked to the mission. There's a CIDG Company located at Dacto 1 to defend the camp and airfield. Enemy forces, light Viet Cong forces are reported operating in the area. Your mission task is to move your infantry company along the road, as it provides the best movement capabilities, and advance towards Dacto 2 airfield to secure it for future operations. Execution. Your infantry company will move by foot to the Dacto 2 airfield and secure it. Straightforward. Political. The Viet Cong and their command, Kosvin, exploit civilian casualties by American fire for propaganda purposes, so warn your troops to be careful when civilians are nearby. Admin. Supply is not a factor in this mission. You will survive on first-line water, rations, and ammunitions. Weather and visibility is expected to remain consistent throughout the course of the mission. You can start the mission by double-clicking the left hex with the commander and infantry platoon in it and moving to the southwest 1 hex to hex 5222. Once the units are selected, right-click on the target hex and they will move there. Good luck! You can identify a hex by looking at the descriptor in the bottom left of the screen after selecting a hex, by pressing the comma key on the keyboard, or by pressing the 1.1 button on the toolbar. Okay, command report. This will happen at the beginning of every turn. Right now it says 1 headquarters is unable to provide supply. Side A phase. This is my turn now, and I have 12 turns to complete the mission. If you look down in the bottom corner, I don't have any smoke, so I probably won't need it. This is the 1.1 button that they were talking about for the map coordinates, and that's 5222 that we wanted to go to. This is the leader and of A Company, and this is the infantry platoon associated to that. If we want to identify all the units of that particular company, we can select one and press the highlight button, which is this button here, or press Z. So if I press Z on the keyboard, it'll just turn it on, turn it off. So you'll see that all the infantry of my company that I need to be concerned about are here, plus the leader, and here's the headquarters. We can find out additional information by selecting the unit and going to the unit handbook. This will tell us the organization of the unit name, typically what this one is going to be armed with, as well as a brief description about what it is. This also shows us the strength points, the victory points per strength point, what it assaults at, what it defends at, how much it costs to fire, the loading cost and unloading cost, how fast it'll move, etc. These movement costs will tell you how fast something will, or how many action points it requires to move in each of these different terrain types. This also shows you what kind of different capabilities that this particular platoon has. So it can set an IED, claymores for example, it can dig in, you can load it, you can ride it, or have it so that it rides, you can use it so that it can portage, etc. This is the range. The blue signifies targets against other soft targets like other infantry, and the red is against hard targets like tanks. Okay, the first thing we were instructed to do is to select these two units. I double clicked on the hex to select them both, and I'm going to right click on the 5222 hex. Excellent. So I did so. Well done. You moved your leader and infantry 67A platoon to hex 5222. You can quickly identify hex coordinates by looking at the lower right, which is down here, you can see, of the screen, or by pressing the comma key on the keyboard, or by pressing the 1-1 button under the map. There's lots of ways to access everything on the toolbar, which is great. Continue their movement towards objective location at hex 4323. Don't forget to move your other two infantry platoons as well. Good luck. Hint, you can change the map views by pressing 1 through 9 on the keyboard or scrolling with the mouse wheel. So before we do anything else, let's take a look at the map views. So this is zoom level 1. This is zoom level 2. This is zoom level 3. Zoom level 4. Zoom level 5, which goes into 2D now. Zoom level 6. Zoom level 7. Zoom level 8. And zoom level 9. There is also a jump map, which is accessed here, or by pressing simply J. We can turn off the coordinates, have a better look. We can also turn on the map labels if we want. We can do so by pressing the map toolbar and the map button, label button. Let's go back to zoom level 1 or 2, maybe 3. Let's pan over and see where we're going. And let's turn the coordinates back on. So if I recall correctly, actually I don't have to recall. What I can do is go under status, message log, and here. This will tell me this will recall the messages that have appeared so far. And it says continue their movement to objective location at 4323, which is highlighted here. There's an objective here. Let's zoom into it. Right now it's worth 5 objective points. Let's turn off those. Yeah, now we can see that. It's worth 5 objective points to get there. These ones here at the Dacto airfield are worth nothing at the moment. I'll keep an eye on that though. Okay. Let's double click and continue moving. We're going to move up. Oh, that's great. You're on the right track. That's great. You'll want to keep the units of your company in close proximity to each other so the platoons can mutually support one another in case of ambush or attack. Once you have moved your company towards the objective, you can press the End Turn button at the bottom left of the user interface. You can save the game with a default name and press OK. Hint, on the right or left side of the user interface is the unit list. That's what this is here. And you can change this, hence it says right or left. You can move this from one side to the other if you wish. Here you can see the units you have selected. Notice I have the commander and the infantry platoon selected, as well as information about the selected hex. So it tells you about the terrain, any special features about that particular hex, if there's mines or blocks or anything like that, the type of ground, condition, the elevation, the objective value if there is one, if there are any wrecks, the terrain effects modifier, the concealment of that particular hex, and the morale boost to that hex, what the visibility is for this particular scenario at the moment, if I have any air power, any smoke, or any flares, and what the current ammo levels are for both my normal firing and artillery. Which I just went through. Yes, while the unit list option defaults on the right side, you can move it to the left side under Options, Unit List Position, and Left. So under Options, Unit List Position, and Left. So there you can see that it moved over to the left-hand side. Position and right. Now it's back on the right-hand side. Okay, let's grab our units, continue moving. I can't move any further, so I will press the end turn, which is this button down here. Press OK. And I will save this as Bootcamp 1. You can just save it as Battle if you want, but if you play more than one scenario at a time, it'd be good to have a different name for it. Now it is the Side B phase. Oh, now it's my turn again. Well done, we made it to turn 2. Before you continue to the objective hex, that is 4323, let's talk about objective hex values. You will notice that the hex 4323 is presently worth 5 victory points. Yes, because it says so right there. In many cases, the victory points are cumulative on a turn-by-turn basis. So in theory, once you secure hex 4323, you will gain 5 victory points per turn. Oh, that's good. When in the game, you will notice that objective hexes around the Dagto airfield are presently worth 0. So we're scrolling over, and yes, we confirm that they are worth 0. That means there are no value for to capture them. You also do not know what the value of the objective hex value is for your opponent. So I don't know what these objective hexes are worth to the Viet Cong in this case. This helps with Fog of War and provides the opportunity for interesting gameplay, which is true. Let's continue. You can have your foot units move faster or double time by selecting the units and pressing the double time arrow at the main toolbar, or by pressing Ctrl Q. Double timing will typically, but not always, have units become fatigued. This will depend on the quality of the units as determined by the AAI settings. A fatigued unit will assault and defend with values at 50% for the normal unit they recover. They will typically, but not always, recover the following turn. That will depend, of course. Okay, so we went through the beginning phase, and now we're going to try to double time. We're going to do so by pressing this double time button here. Notice that only one of the units became fatigued, but they're both ready for double timing. Let's see how far we can go. Actually, we can do that by taking a look at how far the movements by pressing H or Control H. Oh no, just H. And now it shows you how far I can move using the shaded hexes. So I'm going to click here, and they'll move along the road. Excellent. You use the double time option, and we're able to move further this turn. Your platoon may or may not have become fatigued, so one did not. This is determined in the scenario AI file as a separate parameter. This parameter will vary nation by nation and decade by decade, depending on the training and quality of the nation's army. Hint, remember that units can move at different speeds, which is mindful for not spreading your forces out too far, which would leave them unable to support each other. Typically, 8 hexes or 2 kilometers is the suggested limit. Okay, let's do the same. So now, without being double timed, they can move 2 hexes because they're moving uphill. Let's try selecting it, and now they can move quite significantly farther. That's perfect. And we'll do the same for this one. Double time, and move up on top of the ridge here by this other airfield. Let's turn this off. We're making good progress, and let's end the turn. You'll notice that there's a lot of notifications within this particular scenario. All the boot camps are like this to help it be more interactive, to help you understand what's going on, and help you learn more easily. Let's continue on here. Your infantry company should be on the road heading towards the 5 victory point objective at hex 4323. Yes? Continue the event. Campaign Series Vietnam requires line of sight to conduct most combat. In the confined area of many places of Vietnam, your line of sight will typically be limited. You may notice that the new toolbar setup at the bottom of the screen. It defaults to all, so all the buttons are shown. The toolbar is organized into various categories for ease of use. It is recommended to use the common. It's actually, we changed this. I forgot to change the text, but it is defaulted to common because those are the most commonly used buttons. And yeah, it just made more sense to do so. You can check to see what your units have in their line of sight by selecting a unit and the binoculars button under the Common tab, or by pressing V. You can also change how the line of sight is displayed by choosing Options under Hex Highlights and selecting one of the 4 options. Hex shading is from the traditional campaign series and is the default view. There are a lot of hotkey shortcuts available. Everything in the toolbar has an associated hotkey. If you hover your mouse over the button, the name and the hotkey information will display for you. Alright, we shall continue. One headquarters is unable to provide supply. So, as the note mentioned, if you hover your mouse, you'll see what the hotkey is and a description of what the button means. Also, as the notice mentioned to us, if we want to change something else besides, for example, the shading for how far we can move, you can do so under Options, Hex Highlights. You can use Block if you want. So all these ones means that I cannot move there currently. Alternatively, there's the outline, so all these hexes I can move to. Or the alternate color. All these hexes I can move to. We'll go with the default with hex shading. Now I cannot fatigue this unit again to double time him, so we'll just move everyone as a group down the road. And we'll put these platoons together. You can play in 2D as well as 3D. Additionally, you can change the options. If you prefer to see the NATO counters, you can do so by going Counters, Counter Graphics, and NATO. This does not tell you facing in this mode, but if you like NATO counters, there you go. And everything is displayed very nicely in 2D. Let's see. So we're almost at our objective. Let's press save and continue. You are a moment away from capturing the 5 victory point objective location at Hex 4323. Advance into the Hex with your platoon to secure it. Your company is made of 3 platoons. Each platoon contains a number of strength points. The strength point of each platoon is based on 1 strength point for each half squad. Thus, each platoon starts with 6 strength points. The strength points for vehicles and heavy weapons is calculated differently, with their strength points indicating the amount of vehicles or main weapons in the unit. For example, a 3 SP M48A5 tank platoon is made up of 3 tanks. That makes sense. Nothing new to report. And turn number 4. Okay. We're going to select our units by double-clicking the hex. Alternatively, if I only want to move 1 unit, I can just select or deselect using the unit list. We have them both selected. We're going to go and take this objective. And we're doing so by right-clicking on that hex. Great. Well done. You secured the objective at Hex 4323. You should have noticed the icon change from the VC held objective to a US held objective location. You will collect 5 victory points per turn holding this objective. Continue moving toward the objective at Hex 3822. You will notice that it'll be worth 2 victory points now, where last turn it was worth 0. So keep in mind, it says this here, but it doesn't oh no, it is. It changed already. Never mind. So that's where we're going. It's worth 2. You can keep track of your current victory conditions by looking under Status Victory dialog. This dialog shows you the current state of losses, event points gained, held objective points, and overall score. Let's take a look at that then. So let's turn on our coordinates. So 3822 is what they recommended that we're going to, so we'll send our troops that way. And let's take a look under status, victory. All right, so right now we are losing, but that's okay. As we keep a look at this, we will see our victory point change, and hopefully we'll not take any losses. Okay, let's continue. We're going to meander towards that victory location, and we'll bring up our other infantry platoons. And I don't think there's anything else to do. You'll see that this is the CIDG company that the original briefing meant or talked about, which we can find here. So this is the original briefing, and it says a CIDG company is located at Bootcamp One to defend the camp and airfield. Since they're not in play for me at the moment, they're all fixed. So, and if I understand correctly, we'll take a look and see if they're going to be released. We can do so by reinforce releases. So everything might be released at turn 8, but we don't know the percentage chance of that. Okay, good to know. Do we get reinforcements? Let's look. Reinforce, scheduled? No, we do not. So we don't have air power, we don't have smoke, we don't have flares, we don't have reinforcements, and we may get the rest of this company and these civilians for some reason. Okay, let's continue. I'm going to press save, press the end turn. Now it is the Viet Cong side. Okay, you're almost within sight of Dak To 2 airfield. Well done, soldier. It is recommended to advance and secure the objective at hex 3822. Consolidate your forces before attempting to secure the airfield. Okay. You can use organizational movement to move the company from units instead of moving them all. Wait, let me read it. You can use organizational movement to move a group of units instead of moving them all at once. Select the company headquarters, the platoon that has the radio on the top left of equipment, and press the Z hotkey. This will turn on the highlight organization, displaying which platoons are under the command of the company headquarters. With the company headquarters selected, hold the Alt key and right-click on your target hex. The other two platoons will follow, behind the primary platoon. This is column movement. For echelon movement, use Shift instead of Alt. Okay, well let's try that. Nothing new to report this turn. Now it's turn 5. So it said select the first platoon that has the headquarters. That's identified by this radio. And we're going to press the, what was that? Let's check a look. Message log. With the headquarters selected, hold the Alt key and right-click on the target hex. So I am going to press the Alt key and right-click on this objective and see what happens. Oh, very good. So we secured the position, and now we're going to start collecting 2 points per turn. Let's keep consolidating the forces. Depending on the fog of war settings set at the beginning of the scenario, the losses for the Viet Cong side may only show as an infantry unit. This is by design, okay? Ah, yes, and our units are going, look at that, they're doing that by themselves. That's great. So they all proceeded towards this hex, and I only had to do one movement. So that's great. That's wonderful. Makes moving larger units easier. Now that we're all there, we've secured that objective. Let's continue. Once you start the turn, you will notice some victory point changes to the objective locations. The first objective location you captured is now worth 0, while the airfield objective is now worth 5 victory points each. Let's take a look. Let's scroll over. Yeah, that first one we took is now worth nothing. So we're not going to collect any points from that anymore. That means these objectives are variable. That's kind of cool. I like that. These changes reflect changes in orders and priorities as the battle takes place. As your opponent will generally not know what your primary objectives are, this adds to the fog of war element while battling. You will also be more likely to see a civilian unit in the south of your forces at Hex 3823. Okay. In most cases, attacking civilians will cause you to lose victory points or have your opponent gain event points, or both. Do your best to refrain from attacking civilians. Okay. We recommend splitting up the company and securing the airfield from multiple directions. Hint, if you scroll back to the area around Dacto Airfield, Dacto 1, we'll see a number of civilians. Some of these are civilians. The remainder is the headquarters and CIDG company. These have a potential to be released so that you can use them in future turns. Pressing Alt-R will reveal when they will be available. Reviewing this dialogue will reveal that the remaining Dacto are to be released on turn 99, which seems odd in a 12-turn scenario. This means that there is a conditional release that is programmed into the scenario file. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's great. Huh. Okay. Let's continue. So we're going to split up our company and start securing this airfield. Let's pick one of the platoons. Let's double time it that we learned how to do. And get in there. You are doing well securing the airfield for future operations. You will notice that this hex has a block in it, which has impeded your movement and costs 65 points to move into a block hex. Okay. Blocked hex can only be cleared by engineer type units. Engineer units are available in Bootcamp 2. Oh, okay. That's good to know. And we're taking fire. I don't know if I have enough action points to continue moving. No, we burned through all the action points. We will take our infantry unit. Aha. So there's the civilians that the note made mention of. You notice how we can occupy the same hex? We will be careful not to shoot at them. Let's continue on. There's another blocked hex there. And let's move our first platoon in the company over here. Oh, there's another unit firing at us. So we haven't suffered any losses. That's good. There was something firing from here and something firing from here. Due to the fog of war, I don't know what is firing at us. So I'm going to pull them back just out of the way a little bit. And let's see what happens here. So we've secured the airfield. They're all worth 5 victory points each turn. This one is worth 2. And next turn we'll try and secure the fire base area. And that'll be that. Okay, we're still being shot at. No effect, which is good. Also no effect, which is good. Where did that come? Looks like you're being shot at by snipers in the tree line. There is a die roll performed every time snipers fire to determine if their position is revealed. In many cases, the quickest way to deal with and reveal snipers is to attempt to enter the hex from where they are firing from. Units that have hidden fire capabilities are special forces, snipers, and special reconnaissance type platoons. We took a loss. So we lost 1 strength points and became disrupted. It did not pass its... at the beginning of every term, there's a roll to see if it passes or not. Unfortunately, we did not pass. It will remain disrupted for this particular turn. So, there's a river here, which means that we cannot cross and occupy that particular hex. Although, we can move. Let's move on. Oh, no. We have stumbled into a hidden minefield. A die roll was cast to see if you suffered any casualties or disruption. If your platoon was disrupted, It is unable to move closer to the enemy and will fire at half its normal attack strength, but defend at its normal defense strength. A disrupted unit cannot assault. The minefield will remain in place until it is cleared by an engineer unit, so let's try and avoid that altogether. Engineer units will be available in Bootcamp 2. Don't forget, you can view a unit's capabilities by selecting the unit and pressing F2. So we didn't suffer a disruption, but we did suffer a loss, unfortunately, by walking into that minefield. That is the new side awareness within the campaign series Vietnam game, is that you can no longer just put a unit out and be able to see all the minefields and all the blocks and all the IEDs in the area. You have to literally stumble upon something to see it now. Let's take our reduced unit, try and secure this firebase. You have secured the airfield and the future forward operating base. Well done. It is recommended to dig in your platoons in case there is a follow-on attack by the Viet Cong. If your platoon has 100 action points, you can press the shovel icon under the common tab or press Ctrl D to initiate the digging in option. A die roll will be cast at the beginning of every turn to see if an improved position was created. Having multiple units inside the same hex digging in will improve the odds of a successful improved position being created. Okay, good to know. So he does not have full action points, but he does have enough action points to fire. Even though we cannot see the sniper that shot at our poor platoon, we can fire upon him, even though we can't see him. We're going to do so by pressing this button so that we're in fire mode and right-clicking on the target hex. So we did fire blindly into that hex, even though we know that there was fire coming from there. Our likelihood of hitting him is minimal, but any chance is better than no chance at all. To go between the two modes, you can do so by pressing Control. And you can see at the bottom left that the change is happening just by pressing Control. We have these two additional platoons. There is a sniper over there. It is on this side of the river. So let's move a little closer. No, we can because we don't know he's there. We know no, he can't. It knows that it's there. So we'll move our headquarters a little bit closer here. Do a couple of shots. Or a shot. No, we can do 2 shots. So we don't know if we're doing any damage to him, but let's try anyways. This platoon will pull back towards here and start building that improved position that it suggested that we do. Okay, that's all we're going to do for this turn. We are taking fire. We took a loss from that sniper. There's also civilians in there, so we have to be extra careful and target, because we could have accidentally shot those civilians in there and not know. That is oh no. You will notice in this case the Viet Cong platoons are preparing to defend the DAC 1 airfield. It looks like they've captured it. What the Viet Cong will do will vary on a scenario by scenario basis and situation by situation basis. As this is a bootcamp scenario, what their options are for this scenario are simplified. They will become more complex in other scenarios. So this is part of the scripting. We can script to have this particular Viet Cong unit do almost anything that we want. We can have it so that it attacks, we can have it so that it defends, we can have it so that it does both. We can have it go around a huge flanking maneuver. The options are limitless. There are 800 different variables within the scripting that we can use to make every experience unique. It is most often best to focus on your mission objectives. If you stray from your objectives, you may be penalized, resulting in a loss of the scenario. So, your CIDG platoons have been released from fixed status. You are now able to move them and attempt to recapture the airfield from the Viet Cong. So this tells me my units are being released. My disrupted unit has recovered, so is no longer disrupted, and we have one headquarters that is still unable to provide supply. It is turn 8. We will use our CIDG platoons. First things first, let's move our civilians out of the way. We don't want them shot. And we are going to move closer and try to get in a position to attack these with our company. I'm going to use this village hex. So I can identify hexes that are going to be beneficial to my movement by selecting. So this here shows you the elevation, and this shows you the TEM, how effective I will be at defending in these particular terrains. So the village is going to be more beneficial than this open terrain or this airfield. So I'm going to put my unit here, and hopefully if it does take fire, I won't get any losses because of it. That's encouraging. Okay, so because I was in better terrain, it helped with my chances. These are half decent troops. They assault at a 6, defend at a 7. Their fire cost is pretty high. It's at a 40. So basically, I can move and shoot once per turn. Next turn, we'll try and surround and capture these. It looks like these only have 3 strength points, and the only reason I can tell that is because they're in open terrain. If they were in jungles, I wouldn't be able to identify what their strength points are. I will not be able to identify if they're disrupted or not, so that is something to be concerned about. Alright, let's see if we can target that sniper. Well done. We've successfully destroyed the sniper that was harassing your troops. Make sure you secured the airfield in case there are other Viet Cong around. You may have noticed that I took a few turns to spot the snipers. Yes, because this one is still missing. Snipers are hidden fire units. Special force type units also have this ability. Okay, so we killed that sniper, which is great. I don't know if we're going to kill that one. So we can risk drawing fire, or we can drawing fire and take casualties, or we can just shoot. Let's shoot. Let's err on the side of caution and just shoot. So again, we can't see what we shot at. Maybe we got lucky and killed them. Maybe not. We'll bring these platoons back here, and we'll start digging in this village. Up here, we've finished what we needed to do. Let's zoom out and get an overview about what's going on. Alright, we'll end the turn. So we got shot at. Your CIGD company should be released, and hopefully you're going to make some form of attempt to recapture Dacto 1 airfield from the Viet Cong. Do you know that you can fire at suspected occupied hexes, even though you can't see a Viet Cong unit in there? Yeah, we did that with the sniper. If you think a Viet Cong unit is in a hex, toggle the fire mode and right-click on the hex. You may get lucky and hit it. Terrain is your ally. Use cover as much as possible while advancing your opposing forces. This will help protect your troops from attack to help their morale. You can see the effects of the different terrain types window on the right or left side of your screen. So up in here, it'll tell you the thing that we were looking for before, the TEM, the concealment, what kind of morale modifier that it's going to have. You've come across some civilians that were supporting the Viet Cong. These civilians are supporting the Viet Cong by choice or forced. They provide some intelligence to the Viet Cong. Civilians will not attack you, but will impede your movement. Be wary of civilian movement, as they may draw your fire. Unless specifically tasked with targeting civilians, it is always best to avoid shooting or assaulting civilians. They will negatively impact your victory level. You can turn off your opportunity fire, fire that happens during the side B turn, by pressing Control P on the keyboard. This will open the opportunity fire dialog. If you select N for other firing unit under other targets, you will remove the attacks against infantry type units. Of course, this may have the other consequences when near opposing combat units. For more details, you can see section 3.2.5 of the manual. I have one unit that recovered from morale check from being attacked. Looks like I lost another strength point and I lost morale. Let's move these units up in here. And I'm going to do what it said. I'm going to select both of these platoons. I'm going to press Control P, which brings up the opportunity fire dialog. And I'm going to change the other targets down to nothing so they do not fire. If there are Viet Cong in the area, then I will deal with that accordingly. Otherwise, I am going to use this unit over here and continue shooting across at where that sniper was. I don't know if it's still there. We won't know. Okay. Back at our Dacto 1 airfield, we have these two Viet Cong that we need to deal with. All the civilians are out of the way. Let's bring up one more platoon up here. Draw some fire. Again, this offers some benefits of being in this village hex by improving my morale, reducing the concealment, and helping the terrain effects modifier. We're going to move this one into this area here to get it up on the same elevation level. Now I may take losses there because it is in the open, but looks like we only had one loss. Okay. I will do a couple of shots into that group. Well done. You learned how to fire and reduce my opponent's forces. That's great. Keep up the attack. Dacto 1 airfield. Watch out for the opportunity fire from the Viet Cong, though. Civilians were released, so we did move them out of the way, which is good. Looks like we caused a casualty, which is great. We'll do one more shot on this one. Again, all I'm doing is selecting the unit, pressing Control for the fire mode, and targeting. Okay, so we caused some casualties. Next turn, we can move closer and take that objective back. That sniper is still there. We didn't get it. I can't see it still. We know it's there. It's shooting at us. And now these Viet Cong are shooting at our... Okay. Hopefully the CIDG company is still in decent shape, and you have or will have secured Dacto 1 airfield from the Viet Cong. We will do that this turn for sure. Your CIDG company will likely take casualties when attacking the Viet Cong unit. While you will not receive replacements for your losses, to regain the morale losses, keep the units in terrain that provide additional cover, villages or forests, for example. Okay. One unit has recovered, which is great, and the headquarters is still unable to provide supply. Now we've lost line of sight of that Viet Cong unit that is in the trees, but we still have line of sight to this one here. Let's start our offensive and take that point back. We will draw fire and probably take losses. Nope, no losses there. Let's shoot at this one. We caused casualties for him. And let's move into that position. We've taken the airfield back. We will bring in our extra support and shoot at that Viet Cong. Because the fog of war is on, we could not tell what kind of effects that we had. This one here still, we don't know if it's disrupted or not, but it is only down to 1 strength point. Let's get brave, move a little closer, and shoot at this one up here. We're shooting at an attack value of 9. Again, I can't tell what it is, what the value is, but that's okay. We should be in a position where we're secured. We will assault these next turn if we don't take too many losses. Since we can't see him, he's not opportunity firing. Ah, they're trying to flank me. Okay, only a couple more turns to go. Make sure you have all your objectives secured to prevent any unfortunate surprises. There will be a case where the objectives will not be variable, meaning that holding the objective at the end of the turn is what counts. Nothing new to report. Since we're holding these, we're just going to dig these guys in. So we're going to do so by pressing this button or Control D. This, we're going to fire across the river. Try and get that sniper. Again, no luck. And back up at the airfield. We will... we have full strength platoons here, so we're going to assault this particular Viet Cong unit. And we're going to do so by selecting it, making sure that it's highlighted, and then in movement mode, we're going to right-click on the hex. That turns the assault on. We don't know what the assault odds are because we have enhanced fog of war on, so we will try and see what happens. To resolve the assault, you can press the assault resolve button, which is here. We've managed to destroy the Viet Cong company, well, most of the company anyways. Make sure you have secured the airfield in case there are other Viet Cong around. In many scenarios, reducing or destroying an opposing company will give you additional event points. So one important thing to note with the Campaign Series Vietnam game is that not everything is going to be based around the objectives. For example, in Bootcamp 4, there are no objectives on the map. So you have to complete missions without knowing what the objectives are. That is the same for all other scenarios. If you hold, for example, if you hold a group of objectives, you may get event points for those. If you lose objectives, or if you get units into a particular area without objectives, but that's your mission, you'll get event points for that. That will completely change how this game is played. Our assault was successful, which is great. We will do the same and try and assault this Viet Cong platoon, just for the simple fact that if we are successful, we either eliminate it or push it back. So repeating the process, highlighting both the units, in move mode, right clicking on the target hex, and then pressing the assault button. We were very lucky and we succeeded in destroying that platoon. Let's defend this particular hex. And we will press end turn. That sniper is still shooting at us. Fortunately, we didn't take any losses. Here we are. We made it to the last turn. Hopefully this has been informative for you and you have learned some of the basics that are required to play the Campaign Series Vietnam game. Next up is Bootcamp 2, which will take you through some basic engineering tasks, dealing with reinforcements, and learning about supply. Thank you for playing. Perfect. So we don't have anything else to do, so we will end the turn. That is Bootcamp 1. I really appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for the Bootcamp 2 scenario. It will be a little more involved. I might have to break it up into 2 videos, but I'll try and keep them under an hour just for simplicity's sake. Let's end the turn, see what happened. We get shot at. Time has reached. Let's see. Oh, we got a major victory. That's fantastic. Good job. Good job. Perfect. By the skin of our teeth. We did take some heavy losses, though. We would have got a much better major victory had we not taken those losses. No side got any event points, and we made 123 in cumulative objective points, which is great. That's good. We'll save it. Again, thank you so much. It is truly appreciated that you watched. Keep that smile on. Take care. Talk to you later.